Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a great day to be a tiger. Sorry, y'all. I'm still on Las Vegas time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, Miss Shanetta. Today we are going to be tuning in to the listening session. The campus sessions are happening at the Jackson State Student Center. There's going to be constituent members to serve on an advisory group to provide insight and recommendations to trustees during the search process. This is something that the board has not done in years. And basically, there is a survey that we have to take within the next 24 hours to collect community input to develop the job profile for the university president. Some of this stuff is kind of weird in terms of the schedule for the listening sessions, but they are going to be live streamed. And so as soon as they go live, I will basically put them up on the screen for everyone to listen in and have a chat. Y'all have to excuse me. I saw that they were having in this listening session, and I was like, oh, I had a chance to drop Braxton off. That's it. Hey, Unc. I tried to say hi to you in Vegas, but it was a lot going on. Wow. I wish you would have said hi. I love meeting new people. Let's see what we got going on here. So it should be going live any minute now. And once it goes live, we will be tuning directly in. And I'll be in the background. Good morning, Miss Foot. Miss Foot says she's still in Vegas. Wow, you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning. My hours got messed up when I came home. I couldn't fall asleep, and now I'm tired. So, but nonetheless, we move. I'm here. And we are going to definitely tune in to this live listening session. We want to make sure that all of our stakeholders are aware of the implications of this next president. Still waiting. So while we're waiting, I'll just read a little blurb about what's been going on. The IHL Board of Trustees heard presentations from the AGB search. During the October 16th meeting of the Mississippi Board of Trustees, the State Institutions of Higher Learning, consultants from AGB Search presented information on the proposed timeline for the Jackson State University presidential search and the best practices related to a search. Discussion was led by Kim Bobby, a principal with AGB Search, and Dr. Carlton Brown, a senior executive search consultant with AGB Search. The Board of Trustees voted on September 18th to engage AGB Search to lead the national search for the next president of Jackson State University. Let's see what other information I can find out, you guys. This is what the survey looks like if you have not taken it. So it's very important that you take this survey. We know that a lot of times they don't include our input, but they're putting it out there. They put it out there over the Las Vegas Classic weekend. And the deadline is tomorrow evening. So we want to make sure we put our best foot forward and everyone fill it out. Basically, just pick your role. And it's asking, what are the 2 to 3 most important talent, skills, and attributes that the next president should possess? What are the 2 to 3 most important opportunities that await the next president? What priorities should the new president focus on in the first year? And are there any other comments you would like to share? We might have to have like a live tonight to go over that. Folks are still traveling and trying to get in from Vegas, and but it is very important that we highlight some of these things. I know that the ability to get research dollars is very important. Trying to get the R1 status is very important. Having the ability to gain access to state funding is important, and being able to network. I would definitely have to probably have a live maybe tonight to go over that specifically, because we want to make sure we're all on one accord. I know those are some of the things that are very important to Jackson State stakeholders. And we are still waiting on them to go live. Inclusive leadership is very important. Collaborative partnership is very important. I think that there are several different things that Jackson State alums, faculty, staff, and students feel that have missed the mark in the past presidents. I think maybe, got to check the background outside of the accomplishments. What are you as a person, personally, how are you as a person? Like, are you going to be able to handle all that comes with being the president of Jackson State University, which may include possibly foregoing some of your vices? Are you able to do that? Very important to know if that's something that you can handle. Because if you can't handle that, you do not need to be leading Jackson State nowhere. You don't need to be over Jackson State if you can't do that. Very important. Thank you, Mrs. Foot. Character. There we go. All right. Thank you so much, J Blue, for lining that out so that I can make sure that I have all of these things written down. We've had a live in the past where we go over these things, but it's always nice to rehash, of course, the importance of all of these things. Very important. We do not need any scandals. I think character is probably number one on the list, because we can't be, it's not boding well. And as we all know, all of these things are above us in terms of the ability for us to control. We can't control that because we do not hold the keys to our institution in terms of who is the president over it. So it's very important that we apply the pressure that is needed this go around. And I think the 1877 project has done a great job of garnering the amount of pressure that is needed. I think that they've been doing a phenomenal job of applying that pressure and making sure that it's done the right time this go around, not like just pick and choose whoever you see fit. Because obviously the people that they are advocating to be over Jackson State are not finishing the job. They have some things that are getting in the way of them being able to finish the job. So why is the crown and number 3 mean by my name? That means that you have made the most comments, Miss Foot. So it just basically means that right now you have commented the most on the live. It's like a fan thing where it just basically every live you're going to have people commenting. And so that just means that you've commented the most this morning. So that's why you have a crown right now. And if it's number 3, I think that means you're like the third person. Good morning, Miss Ellison. All right, y'all. Once again, we are on standby for the Jackson State University listening sessions. It's day 1, October 27th, 2025. I literally just dropped my son off for school and said, let me hurry up and create a live so that we can chat about all the things that has been going on. Let's have these conversations. I think it's important that we have all of these conversations. Very important that we discuss the matters of Jackson State University. Of course, I love talking about sports, but I think it's also very important that we talk about matters that affect our university, and make sure that through the live chat, we're able to share what thoughts that we have. Having these conversations with each other might also help us to understand, people's thoughts. If you're an alum or you're a student or, you are a staff member, everyone being able to come together and talk about these things definitely helps open our eyes to some of the things that we should be looking for in our next president. Ooh, but I will tell you this new time zone is, well, I mean, technically it's my old time zone. It is definitely having an effect on me. I'm tired. Traveling mercy to everyone who is headed back to home today. Traveling mercies and grace, of course. Yeah, definitely jet lag. And I haven't had that. I didn't get to sleep. So okay, let's see what that looks like. All right. Good morning. So we are still waiting on the IHL Board of Trustees of Mississippi to start the Jackson State University Presidential Search Listening Sessions. There's going to be 2 sessions. So there's going to be a session A and there will be a session B. As you guys are speaking of to set, Grambling State did release a press release. Let me go ahead and pull that up and read that for you guys. Gremlin State quarterback Xavier Tissett recovering after injury at Las Vegas HBCU Classic. He is responsive and in good spirits after sustaining an injury during the fourth quarter of the Saturday's Las Vegas HBCU Classic. He continues to be evaluated by medical personnel. Our thoughts and prayers are with Xavier as he continues to recover, said Grambling State University President Martin Lamel Jr. Moments like these remind us that football is more than a game. It's a brotherhood rooted in courage, care, and community. Xavier is a remarkable young man whose strength and resolve reflect the heart of this institution. We are all rallying around him and praying for his full recovery. Grambling State Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics, Dr. Travion Scott, expressed gratitude on the sports medicine staff, team doctors, and emergency response personnel for their swift and professional care. Their immediate attention and coordinated efforts exemplify the highest standard of care and compassion for our student athletes, said Dr. Scott. Xavier embodies the spirit and resilience of a true G-man, and we stand firmly behind him and his family during this time. So that was the press release by Grambling State Football. This release was from yesterday afternoon, in case you were wondering about the status. So they just said that he's responsive and in good spirits and still being monitored. They have not released any other information. As far as the status of Jacoby and Morgan, they have not released any more information on his status either. So those things are not being released at this time. There is a coach's call today, and Coach TC comes on at like 12 o'clock, 12:05 Central Time. And I'm sure they'll be probably asking those types of questions. I doubt that they'll release anything at this point in time. So we are waiting. Yeah, we hope that he is okay as well. He was in a boot. They did. Let me see if I can pull up that picture. Just while we're waiting on them. This is Lockhart and Jacoby Morgan on the sideline praying. So, this was during the game, of course. Jacobian went out of the game after a couple of drives due to an unidentified injury, but he's here praying with Jared Lockhart. On the field. And as you guys know, Lockhart is a freshman. So, and I feel like, and at the time in what was happening, with your starting quarterback going down, the uncertainty, and then him coming out of the locker room with a boot on, that, the team was trying to figure things out. And so the ability for them to, rally around and try to get that win, that truly speaks to the championship pedigree of these young men. And, we lost to Grambling State last year and we went to the Celebration Bowl. So, they have the grit and they have what it takes. Have to do it, Yeah, that's right. He's Jared Lockhart is a true freshman. So, Tiger Nation is behind Jackson State football. And I think we have 4 more games. We have FAMU, we have Bethune-Cookman, Alcorn, and Valley. On paper, all of these games are very winnable. Alcorn and Valley are very winnable games. I think the most challenging 2 games that are left on our schedule would, of course, be FAMU, just because it's an away game. And then Bethune-Cookman is a home game. But we still have Tiger Nation is rooting them and behind them. Yeah, everyone's going to play us hard. And as you can see, being able to do that, and they squeaked out a win. And we are still waiting on the listening sessions to start. Staff is at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Faculty is at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Students is at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And alumni is at 4. So the Jackson State University students, faculty, staff, and alums will have their opportunity to share their input on the qualifications and qualities that they want to see in candidates for the next president of the university. The listening sessions will be held Monday, October 27th and Tuesday, October 28th in the Senate chamber located on the 3rd floor of the JSU Student Center. The sessions will be facilitated by consultants from AGB Search, the executive search firm contracted by the IHL Board of Trustees. All sessions will be live streamed through the IHL website. Both surveys will close at 11:59 on Tuesday, October 28th. So there's a survey link for community input with responses going directly to AGB Search and being used to help develop the leadership profile for the presidential search. Comments provided through the existing portal on the IHL website are also being shared with AGB Search. Both surveys are available on the JSU presidential search page. So there's actually 2 surveys. 2 surveys. I think I only shared one. And 1877 Project has done a great job of applying the pressure needed to get some fire behind these folks in terms of picking a president that has the character, the knowledge, the intelligence, and the grit to be the president of Jackson State University. I'm surprised I didn't get heckled. I saw a whole bunch of people from Grambling. I didn't get heckled. I might have got heckled on my live after. I thought that it was a great game. It was a great display of HBCU football on the West Coast. There's some questionable calls towards the end. But hey, you got to save those timeouts for times like this. You got to save those timeouts. We didn't have any timeouts to do any challenges. You guys, I don't know what's going on. They have not started the listening sessions yet, or they haven't went live with the listening sessions. Maybe they had an intention on going live and then it didn't come to fruition because it says that they were going to go live, but they have not. At this point, we just need to be quiet when it comes to Grambling. That's the second time. And I think next year it's not going to be in Vegas. It's going to be in the hole. Do you normally come on early? No, I do not. I literally only came on to be able to have the live stream for the listening sessions. I do not come on this early at all. I just had the day off to be able to do this. But no, I do not. Come on, it's early. IHL gonna have to show me something because it is 9 o'clock and they are not live. Maybe they meant they were going live 10 o'clock. It says waiting for Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning at 9 a.m. Is anybody at Jackson State that could give us a heads up about what's going on? I think they should have it as an annual event every year. You think we should be going to Vegas every single year? That is a lot. No, Jerome, it's not 9 Central Standard Time. It's not. It says 9 a.m. as in it's supposed to come on at 8 o'clock Jackson time. That's what they have on here. On the original. Because I was hoping that it was hoping that it was at 10, so I could have took a nap. A slight nap. This is the original link. Oh, wow. I personally would love for us to go after JSU alum James T. Minor, who is the current chancellor of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. He's the former as a deputy assistant secretary in the Office of Post-Secondary Education in the U.S. Department of Education. I've met him here in IHL. So for me, I think that the Las Vegas Classic was so great, right? But what you don't want to get is classic fatigue. Do you guys really think I was told that in terms of Grambling is not, I don't know if that might have changed since this past weekend, but from what I'm told, Grambling does not want to give up their home game to go to Vegas. They want to be in the hole. That was what I was told. So, you know, I was told by a lot of people though that in terms of like it being more affordable than going to like the Miami for the Orange Blossom Classic, they felt like the Las Vegas Classic was more affordable. I know there were several hotels that are literally right across the from the stadium. Like you can literally walk to the stadium. Oh. Oh Lord, here comes Dre. Dre, this is an IHL listening session. What do you mean? Oh goodness, it's too early for this. Vegas and the Raiders rolled out the red carpet. Listen, the pep rally. This is why I'm pretty sure this is why the IHL listening sessions on the original IHL page, the chat is disabled, but we have a live chat here. So free to share your thoughts. Everybody, or every 3 years, every other year in Vegas would be great. Yeah, because I think like now after folks seeing how good it was and getting all the good feedback, I think that every other year would be perfect because folks could get ready and be ready for that game. I also think that if they could separate the time frame in between homecoming and Vegas, you'll have a lot more people coming. So what do I mean by that? Maybe having like 2 or 3 weeks in between homecoming and the Vegas Classic, because it was only like basically 2 weeks in between. So some people did either or. If you some folks was able to take off both weekends, but that was a lot. We're playing in Vegas again, Dre. I thought Grambling didn't want to give up their home game. Dang. So Chicago will be in. So you see how they have Chicago? Chicago would be probably like first. And then you have homecoming. I didn't know they were going to have Vegas again. It's a 2-year deal with JSU Grambling. Oh, so Grambling is going to give up their home game. Maybe they changed their mind. I was told that they did not want to give up a home game to go to Vegas. But maybe after they won and after they saw the turnout, they should replace the other classic dates on Labor Day weekend. Also do homecoming like 3rd or 4th weekend in October. Yeah. Dr. Kanisha, she said that it was really affordable and for a family, even a family trip. No, I left Brax at home, but she said it was a nice trip. You guys, I'm just waiting on them to go live. There's other people waiting on their stuff to go live too. But I don't think it was. It literally said it was scheduled for 9 a.m. Eastern time, and there's some folks waiting for them to go live too. It was cheaper for me to go to Vegas than homecoming. I know it was. Vegas isn't as expensive as people try to make it. Package deals are available. How was the prices in Vegas? Well, I would say what I paid for a family of 4 to go to Vegas was still cheaper than just me going to DC for Howard's homecoming. Oh, wow. So Dr. Kanisha saying, yeah, Vegas is affordable. I'll be in Tallahassee this weekend in the Snakes Den. 9 Central Time, Dre. So they needed to have made it so that it said 10. So I could have had an hour of sleep, but we move. We can talk about the game. Y'all want to talk about the game? Let me know what are 3 things that you liked about the Las Vegas Classic. I'll go first. Dr. Kanisha, now you know you was coming out of a big city. Now those the hotel prices are pretty nice. Okay, so I'll start. The pep rally, I have more footage on my GoPro to upload. I try to upload as much as possible, even, at the game. But yeah. So I didn't go to sleep for one. And then I'm all the way on the East Coast, Jasmine. I'm all the way on the East Coast. So I got up at 2:00 Vegas time to get to the airport. By my flight left at 6. And then I got to Charlotte. And then I had to drive home. I had to go get my son. He was watching the Cowboys game with his grandpa. I guess the Cowboys and the Broncos played, so he watched. He had on his Cowboys jersey when I went to go pick him up. And yeah, then we came home and I went to sleep. But because I'm in 2 different time zones with my sleep rhythm, I woke up at like 4 and couldn't go back to sleep. So I'll be going back to sleep after this live. I loved the Fremont experience, or the old Vegas. Oh, I loved it. It was so nostalgic for the pep rally, and then even just to be hanging around. I thought they did a really good job of the advertising. Every 20 to 30 minutes, you literally saw Jackson State versus Grambling State come across the screen. They involved local band. I think they were like probably in middle school. They had a local band there. They really involved the Divine Nine, which was really good. They had even like a step show, like a miniature step show before the kickoff. So they really, and then they made the Divine Nine feel really inclusive. So before the start of the game, the Divine Nine was able to go to the field and take pictures and stuff like that on the field before the game started. And I thought that was really great to be able to give them that experience. And I think the most important thing of it all is there was a lot of folks that attended that game that did not even go to an HBCU. Like, you had folks flying in and their alma mater was Michigan State. And they were coming in. And then you had folks from the West Coast that just was like, we heard about this, and the game was so back and forth. And if we're doing the game, like doing a side by side for Alabama State versus Jackson State, and then Jackson State versus Grambling State, they're very much so neck and neck in terms of how back and forth it was. Maybe I was more nervous at the Alabama State game because I was watching it on TV. But when I look at when I was actually on the field when it was happening, I think it was just going so fast. Because if you think about the 12 seconds that we had left, that was a winnable game. But we had our true freshman in. Technically, we only needed to kick a field goal. Now, I know that the field goals have been a very tall order for Jackson State this year, but we only needed a field goal to win. So technically, if we could have gotten to the 50-yard line, spiked the ball, and you know what? That's just things that the game was being sped up so fast. They didn't review the play where the ball was fumbled and recovered by Jackson State. So it was just, everything was just so fast. It was hard to slow things down. But looking back at it, I still feel like that was a winnable game in the sense that, the amount of seconds that we had left, which I think it was 20 something seconds at kickoff, at the punt, or not the punt, at the kick return. And we could have utilized spiking the ball and also catching the ball near the boundary to go out of bounds to stop the clock. That out of bounds catch didn't count. You can't catch a ball out of bounds. I ain't never seen you be able to catch it out of bounds. I thought you had to catch it inbounds. That really was, they could have, yeah, it was 21 seconds. We only needed to get it to what? The 40-yard line? I mean, technically, but you know what? Everything was so sped up so fast. There was no timeouts. There was a very bad injury that had happened on the field. And the 4th and 9, they gave up the 4th and 9. I think that everybody was just overwhelmed. And this is why you save timeouts, which I'm sure it's a lesson that was learned, which is don't use your timeouts to try to freeze the kicker. We're not in the NFL. We were trying to freeze the kicker, and we took a timeout. And just let him kick it. He missed without anybody doing anything. So just don't try to freeze the kicker. So these are things that, you want to have that timeout. So the timeout was needed for that, to see, that game was lost when T-Set's mama said win the game for her baby to grandma. Let's say what we are proud of. We're definitely proud of the lack of penalties. I think that overall Jackson State did a good job of controlling those penalties. I do think that the score was only 10-17, and I felt like our boys were playing kind of like lackluster. Like, we're only down a touchdown. Y'all boys, pick it up. Pick it up. Pick your face off the floor. Let's go. They did get that spark once Lockhart got in the game, but it's kind of like, we're not even down by that much. We got to pick it up. Well, take the delay a damn game. Take the delay. Don't use your timeout. Not having timeouts cost us the game. And I don't even think we'll be able to see it. Like, I think that play that we need to look at, we won't even be able to see that play ever again, which is, was that ball fumbled? We can't look at it. Hey, Wayne. Vegas was nice. I stayed away from the Strip because if I would have gotten one of them poker rooms, I probably wouldn't have never left. So I stayed away from there. I did get an opportunity to hang out with Brandy and Whitley and some of Brandy's friends and cousins, so that was fun. And some other Jackson State alums, so that was cool. I have 2 left feet, but I was over there trying to do all the line dancing. That was fun. So they're going to have to get a handle on these after parties, okay? They didn't have enough room for everybody. We need some large venues for the after parties. Lord, not the Chauncey Billups. Yeah, I stayed away from the poker rooms. I don't know X-ray machines, secret glasses. Like, I stayed away from the poker rooms and the blackjack table, and I stayed away. The slot machines. I was there on a mission, and that mission was to cover Jackson State. And the Las Vegas HBCU Classic. The food was good. I would have liked to have seen. So at the Celebration Bowl, they have a Q&A with the coaches and the team prior to the Celebration Bowl, I feel like that should have been available on Friday. Maybe that's asking for a little bit too much. Maybe I'm being greedy, but I felt like as a press person coming in on Thursday, on Friday, I want to go interview a couple of people, interview PNG, interview some of the Grambling greats and Jackson State greats that came in for the game, just as an added benefit for the media. Y'all, I am very ashamed and I have to apologize to you all. The post game, I didn't even know what to say or ask. I was kind of speechless. Like, what do you say to, what are you going to ask? Like, I just didn't have any of my words together. Like, I wanted to know why you didn't play Lockhart earlier. I wanted to know, but when I looked at it as this, and this is something that, which is with Parker Stofa. I felt that Parker Stofa did a pretty good job of containing. It's just a matter of moving the ball down. But if you look at the reasons why we weren't able to move the ball down, it was because of false starts. There was a fumble. The center is used to snapping the ball to Jacobian. And so he snapped it a little bit too high for Parker. So there was a couple of things that were going on, and folks was just kind of like pushing it all on the quarterback, and it's not. And I thought both of them played pretty well under the circumstances. We just had a couple of mistakes that Grambling was able to capitalize off of. Ed, just because Parker is 6'4" does not mean that the center, who is used to snapping to Jacobian Morgan a certain type of way, there's a certain type of way that Jacobian Morgan likes his ball snapped. That's what the long snapper has geared. I'm going to snap my ball the way that Jacobian Morgan likes it snapped. Okay? Different quarterbacks like their ball snapped a different type of way. So, and let's just keep it a buck. Yeah. It might have been a situation we don't know, and we're never going to probably know. We don't know the status of any of these quarterbacks, right? Y'all were over there screaming. You guys were acting like Stofa and Lockhart are like Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. Like, calm down. Stofa is more than capable. Stofa is a pocket passing type of quarterback. And like I said, the Grambling State started blitzing heavy when when Stofa came in. They started blitzing every play. We was gonna blitz. Like, what the heck is going on? How are we gonna fix it? And I don't know. Listen, defense, 4th and 9. We're in the same position that Alabama State was in when they lost to us. Okay, see these right here? I think these are probably about a foot long. So less than this. Let me try to I can't get it in the camera. That's how far Alabama State was from scoring a touchdown on us. And we made the stop. Okay? We made the stop. 4th and 9, we didn't make the stop. We're in the same position that Alabama State was in. When you look back on the game and you say, why didn't somebody do this? And why didn't somebody do that? We're in the same position Alabama State was in. So what do? You answer. You beat the scales, skin boots, the snake skin. You beat it off of FAMU. Just like when Alabama State went to Alabama A&M and drug them all up and down the field and showed no mercy. That's what you have to do. After you lose a game like that, it's not about the game anymore. It's what you do to respond. Contrary to a lot of these other teams that when they lose their starting quarterback, they have no hope for elevating or for winning any more games. Jackson State has a quarterback room that is more than capable of beating not just quarterback room, but running back room, quarterback room, offensive line. We have offensively are more than capable of beating our last 4 games to get to the SWAC championship, which is FAMU, Bethune-Cookman. Thank God it's a home game. Valley and Alcorn. We're more than capable of getting wins in all 4 of those games. I think offensively, Bethune-Cookman is the one that's going to put up the most challenge. The defense has to play the defensive game. The lights out defensive game is what's needed. It's been a minute since you've had this kind of speech. It actually builds your journalism character on what kinds of questions to ask Coach. Wayne, I was sitting there right in front of Coach TC and I didn't even know what to say. I would play the meme video that I had posted, but it's got some choice words. And this is the IHL Listening Sessions, so I don't think it'll be appropriate. But they are who we thought they are, and we let them get away with it. Okay, so how does Bethune-Cookman win? So Bethune-Cookman lost to Alabama State. Jackson State beat Alabama State. So Alabama State would have to win all of their games, and Jackson State has to drop another game. So Jackson State just has to win all our games and we win out. And in order to get home field advantage, we would need for, I want to say, Prairie View to lose 1 game. Ask them what they're going to do about those weak DBs. Jeffrey Carroll, I don't think it's more about weak DBs as it is the scheme. Did they? I'm not trying to be smart because I was also like running around the field with the camera and my mind was racing 1,000 times. But correct me if I'm wrong. The big plays that we were giving up were run plays. Correct me if I'm wrong, which would mean the linebacker and defense, which our linebackers are usually able to pick it up, but we had missed tackles. I could have sworn, and I don't even think we have a problem at linebacker. I just think that we missed tackles that we was wrapping up in other games. I was getting ready to say, our DBs, the same DBs that folks were trying to call out this weekend were the ones that were saving our asses versus Alabama State. Bama State is unlikely to lose another game. Well, I mean, that's good for us in the sense that I definitely want to see PV lose. And who else need to lose? They got too much dip on their chips. Oh, something turned on, y'all. Okay, we're going to tune in. Thanks, because I was just getting ready to keep talking. Lord knows I'm a talker. Oops. I don't hear anything. Okay, as soon as I hear something, I will move it right over. And then we'll switch gears here for a minute. Oh, God. Who would have thought that we would be saying that the SWAC is wide open on the East? Yep, so it's not playing yet. So luckily, the only quarterback that we're getting ready to face that has any type of throwing power is Cam Ransom. So thank everybody for tuning in. Please hit the like button. That is not true, Ed. Which two games are they going to lose? Alabama State and what else? Because the way Alabama State just drug Alabama A&M, and Alabama A&M literally only scored 6 points, I'm not for sure of that. So we're having some listening sessions today. And this is for our Jackson State University president, And we're getting ready to tune in.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to be here with you. I've been with AGB Search for about 8 years now, doing searches across the country, including presidencies of HBCUs. I've been involved in placing 9 HBCU presidents in that time period. I myself am a former president. I was president of Clark Atlanta University for 8 years until 2015. And I was president of Savannah State University for 10 years prior to that. And before that, I was at Hampton University as the dean and vice president for 10 years. So you see, I do 10, 8, 10. And we work from there. So we're very pleased to be here. We're very pleased that we're given the privilege of facilitating this search for Jackson State University, an institution that I know about and have followed for several years. And so we're pleased to be here again. So what we would like for you to do, we don't ascribe any comments to any one person. We will gather comments from every segment of the community and everyone who chooses to participate. As you may also know, there is a survey online that people can fill out and give us feedback from that as well. And what we want to do is, of course, to make sure that we gather your input as we go. And so what we'd like for you to do is let us know who you are as you make your comments. All of this will revolve around basically 4 simple questions. What are the 2 or 3 most important talents, skills, and attributes the next president should possess? What are the 2 or 3 most important opportunities that await the next president? What priorities should the next president focus on? And are there any other comments you'd like to share? That's the totality. So we'll start, and it's fairly free and open. So we'll start with the first question. What to you are the 2 or 3 most important talents, skills, or attributes, including experiences, that the next president should possess? And we're going to be typing, but this is also being recorded for our later use. And we'd like for you to go to the microphone to make sure that we record.
Just think about when you
And don't rush to the microphone since you're crowding each other.
But just as you think about encountering the next president, what professional attributes are you looking for to make you feel like this person can get this job done? What when you think about that? I see some smiles. Don't be shy. Somebody's got to go.
And all this gets compiled into a profile that we develop for the presidency that will cover all the things that we get from the community and that have been approved by the board. So we absolutely need your input.
Oh, okay. Yeah, can you put it on the table? Like he has a table thing. Okay. That too. Nice enough. Put it on exact share. Okay. Personal professional attributes. What are your thoughts when you think about the next president? I can use my outdoor voice too. I used to be a middle school.
Well, this is the opportunity that we need because without your input, we'll get input from others, and then you just leave it up to the powers that be to determine what it is you're.
Thank you. This one coming.
Very good.
Really, because you're telling this is your chance to tell the candidate pool what you like to see. Good morning.
Think about the next president of Jackson State University, I think about fairness across the board. um, especially when it relates to raises, increases. Um, I feel that no one department should control the finances, although, we have a business of finance, but I think that the president should have the final say so when giving increases and not just ruled by one department, and whether what they decide should be given or what they think, because they don't always have the best interests of the people. I think it should be across the board most of the time when it comes to increases. That's my thing. Other than that, just fairness all around.
Thank you. See, that was painless, everyone.
Didn't hurt her a bit.
Is the chat open or people are? Okay.
And we really do want to hear from you. This is important.
Good morning. My name is Shonda DeVerta. I'm the Associate Director in Housing Operations. In the Housing Department. A few things that I would like to see in our next president would be just that person to be experienced and knowledgeable of the culture here at the university, be willing to have an open dialogue with its staff members and students, and also to be physically responsible.
Thank you. Next one. This is your presidency.
Sometimes we like to start with attributes to kind of get you going as you think about the person, because all this fits together. So do you want to shift to challenges now, Carlton? Why don't we think about, now that you kind of thought about what you want to see in a person, when you think about the top challenges or priorities that this president must be able to address effectively from the start. Or another way I like to put it is, if you could leave a sheet of paper on the desk of the next president for them to hear from you, the top 5, what would you put on that sheet of paper for challenges and priorities? Here's your chance to offer the next president some real good direction on what they should be focusing on. I think I spoke loud enough. Could they hear me? He said, yeah. I'm using my outdoor voice.
You got a good outdoor voice.
Challenges, top priority. Sure.
You might as well.
We want to make sure you're heard. That's why the mic is over there, so. We'll take, getting your steps in.
Hi, again, my name is Verdine Potter, and I think that we need to get to our president, the one that's going to be elected, or selected, need to get to know the people, not just the ones at the top, but the ones at the bottom. Give us a visit, because sometimes when the president comes, we don't even, if we're off campus, we don't get to meet the president or at least come and visit the offices every once in a while and know and sit down with us. Well, like this current president is doing, interim, get to know what's on our mind and what we're thinking and what's going on and how possibly they can fix what's going on. Because if you never listen, then you're not going to be able to fix anything.
You want to say more about fix what's going on? What do you want to say any more about challenges? Actually, things that they could address. If you could speak to them about fixing something, what would that fixing something be as a top priority?
I mean, there's a lot of things that need fixing. They're working on some things, especially the lighting. One thing I suggested, but it was like from another presidential, I suggested having metal detectors around here because, I mean, people come around and off the street. And then that's how some people get killed or raped or
So you're saying safety is a concern? is what you're
safety.
saying. Okay.
Yes, safetyness.
Thank you.
Other input on priorities or challenges, opportunities? We'll change the question around. When your next president arrives, what do you want to see that person do in the first 2 years? What must that person do in the first 2 years? Now, I've been around campuses long enough, in fact, all my life, that everybody's got a list. So let's have your list.
I see some smiles. What are you thinking about?
If you don't share it with us here, please go to the online survey and share it there. We're serious about how we put this thing together.
We want to hear from as many This is a really inclusive process with intention. It has been set up to gather feedback across the board. That's why we're having different sessions for different stakeholders, because we're going to create a space where you feel safe to speak up, based on where you're located. And we will be having different sessions with other groups. So it's really important for you to take this moment. This is your space, your time.
And one of the things we know is the fidelity and comprehensiveness of that profile has everything to do with getting the right person and that person being successful. We can't get that without you.
Anyone wants to speak up?
Well, then what's the question we're not asking you that you want to answer? Let's try that.
Yeah. Well, my question is sort of in that same vein. Why did you come today? Why are you here right now? What made you take the time or the busy schedule to be here? What did you want us to know?
Shouldn't be afraid to talk. Because once before, years ago, and this is me now, I can't speak for you guys.
Okay.
But once before, one of the employees made statements and that employee got fired when that president came on. So this is me talking, but that happened.
Yeah, so there's a memory of that.
Yeah.
So there's some trust that needs to be restored, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, that's important. That's an important factor. And how does a person, a leader, build trust? And so that's something that we want to be able to speak to candidates about. You need to be a healer, someone that could help establish open lines of communication and build trust.
Yes.
I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what I heard.
Yes, that is what you heard.
So you want to make sure that we're looking for someone who has already demonstrated their capacity for trustworthiness and being able to communicate effectively with faculty and staff in a creative way.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what the community needs.
But once again, what Dr. Brown said, nothing will be attributed to anyone's name, but if this is your chance to really talk about what challenges need to be addressed, and so it's not a secret, if whatever it is, right? So let's shift. What's going well at Jackson State University? What are some of the great things we can tell candidates? Because we won't put everything in the profile, but our notes will be used for our one-on-one conversations with candidates. And so I always like to do a mini appreciative inquiry, because sometimes if you talk about what's going well, you can use a nugget of that to address pain points. And so before we used AI, AI used to mean appreciative inquiry, one of the acronyms. So I saw Miles, what are you thinking? What good things can we tell candidates?
Okay, so it's Shonda DeVerti again. One thing that comes across my mind that we can share that goes well here or going well here at the university is the dedication that we have with our staff members, students. I think there is a love for the university and wanting to see it thrive. So there is a level of commitment from our staff as well as our students who are attending the school.
Thank you.
Very good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Tina Ellis. I am a grant accountant in grants and contracts. I've been here about 3 years. I'll jump back to priorities. I was just gathering my thoughts.
Sure.
The top priority should be the students. I think I will piggyback off of some of you all. I think that the next president should get to know not only vice presidents and directors, but they should get to know the little people like the grants and contracts, the grant accountants. Also, I think the next president needs to have financial sustainability. Get out in the community and cultivate for the university and use the funds appropriately for the university. Also get to know the community, because the community is a big part of Jackson State as well. Again, just get to know everyone in the university, your faculty, your staff, the students, the community, everyone around surrounding the university. I think that's very important. Again, the students are the top priority. Get to know your students as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other input from anybody? Anything you think we need to know?
Do I have to get up? But more than anything, it should be transparency.
Okay.
It's across the board, just transparency. No hidden agendas, no, just state the facts and show the facts.
Anything else?
On any of the questions that we've asked? Talent, skills, and attributes. What do you want to see in this next president? What kinds of background experiences do you want the person to have? Are you looking for someone who has already been a president, or someone who's in upper level administration, someone from outside of the university environment? What are you looking for? Is it important to you that that person has worked at a university before, that they've been a staff member, or they've been a that important.
That's not important?
Yes, sir.
Speak
Because
up.
it's not, I don't think it's necessarily that they have to have worked here, because the ones that we've gotten, they worked here. And that's why I mean, that's not why we're in this predicament, but we're in this predicament now, searching because, so to me, that doesn't have any bearing on it, but I know the majority, I know the alumni would want that. And I know probably faculty and staff, but my opinion, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
No other input? There's no point in holding them here any longer.
Yeah.
There's no further input. We do appreciate the input we've gotten, and we are going to continue over these next 2 days to get as much input as we can. We will be looking at the data that comes in on the link on the survey. And we'll be looking at your historic documents. We'll be looking at everything else that we can put together to make sure that this is the right person that we're looking for. And getting the right field of candidates.
We do have a timeline that we're working with. I think we will say something about that with the committee. We need to stay on task with our timeline. This is a good time to be launching a search for a president. And we have to take into account the holiday break, but we're hoping that based on the fact that we're launching now, we're going to generate a strong pool, and that there should be some great talent that comes for this prestigious institution. And so we should be able to have someone that is identified before the end of this academic year, and that means next June. So, but without saying too much about our timeline, the process is confidential. And so we will be working with the committee, and it's a confidential process. They will sign an NDA. So we don't want to put anybody that is in a current position in jeopardy by talking about their candidacy. Does that make sense? And so that's part of this process. And so we have to respect the process. There will be some updates on where we are in the process, but nothing about the candidates in the pool. So, and I see people shaking their heads. They understand, put yourself in the place of a candidate. So nominations are confidential. Carlton and our contact information will be on the profile. Nominations are confidential. Send us the name and contact information. We follow up with an individual by sending them the profile and inviting them to a conversation. So that's how nominations work.
And now we don't just advertise. Once the profile is set, we go after those people that we know fit your profile, whether they were looking at this opportunity or not. And we'll, in some cases, talk them out of what they're doing if we think they're one of the right people for you to bring them into this search. And I'll just give you one example of how successful that can be. A few years ago, we did the search for Claflin University, replacing a 25-year presidency. And in the final analysis, while we had some good candidates, we weren't convinced that we had the right candidate. So we talked the guy out of a new 10-year contract he just received at the place where he was to come to that search. That was 6 years ago now. Claflin is having a great time. So we do that kind of work as well.
And we have our own network at AGB Search. We bring to the table a group of our colleagues who are also former presidents and leaders in higher education as a part of our network and sourcing. And so this is a national search. We're going to be using that profile, and what we So we're working with your marketing and communications folks to really tell the current story of Jackson State. What are your points of pride? What do you want to tell a candidate pool? And, what challenges and what opportunities are there for this next person to look at and measure their own body of work against? That's what we're trying to capture. Because I talk to candidates and I always say to them, the profile is our North Star. The institution is telling you what they need in the next president in this document. And then, of course, we have our one-on-one conversations. But I say your letter of interest should be about you and Jackson State. Your letter of interest should be a movie scene showing the committee how you would go about doing the work that the institution needs the president to do. So it can't all just be about you. It has to weave your story into Jackson State's needs. Your CV will say what you have done, but the letter is an opportunity for you to be in the conversation with the institution and what the institution has said nationally that it needs. And so we measure that, we use that document to measure. We're going to give the committee a tool to use to measure. And so we'll all be measuring based on that profile as our North Star.
So thank you for those of you who made input, and we hope the rest of you do make input on the survey link. And please also suggest to others that we would like for them to respond to that survey. Thank you.
Thank you.
First off, I am not asleep. They are taking a break. And I didn't want to start talking about football again in between time. So, what did you guys think about the first listening session? First thing I thought was they scared to speak up. Because why are you guys acting like there's not problems that you can bring up? We have a housing shortage. Financial aid needs to be streamlined. I don't know what type of problem staff would have. Parking is a problem. You could have said anything. They act like they didn't want to talk. Maybe they are scared to talk. They should have taken a anonymous, I don't know, box and then answered the questions and then had them read out. I did it, Mr. Ford. Dr. Carey said I was muted just like them folks were in this listening session. Y'all can't hear me. Am I muted like them folks? Okay, first of all, I'm gonna need for Dre not to be calling me out, talking about I'm asleep. Yes, I might have done a Mr. Ford. I might have done a Mr. Ford. Hey, can you hear me now? Hey, Miss Whitley. Hey, Dr. Carey. I might have been asleep. I'm on Vegas time. Um, they wasn't talking about nothing. They wasn't saying nothing. They scared to talk. Did you guys not see that President Thompson had let somebody go that was, I want to say, the faculty senate president? I forgot her name, but they fired her and she had to get a lawsuit to get put back to where she's working now back at Jackson State. What you asking the staff for? Look, the staff said, I'm just here so I don't get fired. Like they probably were picked out to represent the staff. But the problems that they really like, for instance, the lady that came on there that said that she thinks that they should have metal detectors. And she kept on saying, we're having these issues. And the lady said, well, what are the issues? And the lady was just like, I'm not getting ready to say what the issues are. The issues are what they are. And she said, security. Now, that folks up at the higher do not want people to say stuff like we have security issues, anybody can come on campus. Those are things that, we're on the old adage of be seen and not heard and, keep in-house problems. Me personally, if I see folks, let me turn this thing off or just put it in the background or whatever for now. If I see that something is not getting fixed after folks continuously do the same thing over and over and over and over again, of course I'm not going to speak up. It's not like y'all are going to change. In the meantime, this lady's over here like, nobody's going to know. How will they know? Meanwhile, IHL got them plastered on a public website talking about your secrets are safe with us. Why are you over here lying to them folks? They are on primetime TV. So now, if they really wanted to do an IHL listening session, they could have came up on here and we'll tell them what we need. We'll tell them what we need. If y'all really want to know, do y'all really want to know, or we need a president who comes to the table with relationships already established. We need credible leadership at the helm. We don't need nobody on no learning curve. We do not need anyone that's already at Jackson State. Come on up over here. We're going to tell you what you need, okay? No, but seriously. We have 15 minutes until the next session. Let me see what the next session is going to be, y'all. While we are waiting, please do your input survey. And while I'm talking mess, I'm going to do my input survey because I haven't done it yet. So let's go do ahead and do that. Let's hold everyone accountable. This is the input survey. The last day to do it is tomorrow. And I didn't know this, but I think I didn't anticipate streaming all day long, but I want to say the listening sessions are 9 a.m. for staff and 1 p.m., 10 a.m. for faculty and 2 p.m., students that are 11 and 3. So I want to say, and then the alums are at 4. So what I want to say is there's probably going to be a break in here and I'll just be going on and off all day long. I think that's how that's going to go. So the 1877 project people are alums. So the time for them to come on will be at 4:00. Yeah. So that should be, maybe that will be a spicier one, is at 4:00. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this on here. It'll ask your primary role. What are the 2 most important talents, skills, and attributes that the next president should possess? So for me, definitely having a background in research, because one of Jackson State's main goals is to get to that R1 status. Relationships on a national and international level, to bring in funding, and is very, very important. And then on a local level, the ability to acquire state funding, because one of the things that you do have to be able to do, you have to be able to work with the legislature, IHL. These are things that and to me, I think maybe it's a catch-22, because I feel like the local, as in like the state legislature, they are intimidated by the type of president that we need. So ooh, I like this right here. And I'm going to copy and paste it. Now, so proven fundraiser who's closed 7 and 8 figure gifts and successfully lobbied state legislature. Track record of restoring campus morale after leadership crisis, a strong communicator, transparent decision maker, and community listener. Experience growing research portfolios, international partnerships, and corporate alliances to diversify revenue. So, yeah. So then you just come over here. Oh, you say what you want, and then you copy and you paste it. That's so easy. I said what I want, and then it'll just say it in a way that everybody will be able to understand. Let me make sure they're not over here talking. Nope. It says this session has ended. The next session begins at 10 a.m. Hey, Brother Jerome.
Hey, I love more.
Good morning.
I'm a little hoarse. So yeah, that was a really good answer, right? I do want to bring some leverage to that point, though. When you're looking at a president, of course, you know, we would prefer for this president or any president to possess a lot of skill sets and characteristics, et cetera. But a president is not going to possess all those things. It's kind of like a headband director, right? Headband director is like the buck stops with them, but what they have to do is have the ability to assemble a really great band staff. So you may have one or two individuals who are really great arrangers, and then one person is assigned for the drills, and then et cetera. So it all comes together to make sense to have a really awesome band program. It's the same thing with your president. We want to make sure that even if this next president doesn't possess all the things that we're looking to have, they when Simona and others say bring to the table national resources and relationships, that goes that goes along with that. We want to make sure this president has a Rolodex of individuals that also bring their skill sets and credibility to the table for Jackson State. And whether it's marketing, whether it's enrollment growth, or whether it's just a lot of fundraising, a whole litany of different options. And I honestly feel like that's where we kind of dropped the ball with the last, 4 or 5 presidents who were from Mississippi. They didn't necessarily have that network of resources that they could tap into to bring in credible folks to help with enrollment growth, to help with fundraising, to help with et cetera, et cetera. So I want to say the last president we had that brought in some solid folks was probably Myers and Mason. So we need to get back to that. And I really feel like we have to get back to being a national and global institution, just with respect to our vision. We used to have a whole campaign. It was like hashtag JSU Global. And we had relationships with like Brazil and all these other different countries. And we were getting a lot of international students, and we were sending students over, abroad during the summertime, et cetera. We need to get back to that because we have grossly regressed and become extremely local to the point where, of course, we know Jackson State has the largest brand among HBCUs, but when it comes to brand awareness, that is where we fail. Because when you ask the average person, when they, ask them about Jackson State, what do they think of? From an academic standpoint, what can they say? Because our brand awareness it's almost like for the last 4 or 5 years since Prime, we've fallen into this trap every fall. We get sucked into the football notoriety and success, and we get distracted. And a lot of things kind of fall by the wayside, especially when it comes to that brand awareness. So we just need a president that comes to the table with those skill sets. And if they don't if they're not a SME, like a subject matter expert in certain areas, they've got someone that they can call to bring into their cabinet to do the job very well.
So they're asking in the chat basically, like, is Tate Reeves going to let the African American community pick Jackson State's next president? So one of the things that I, when thinking about what type of president that Jackson State actually needs is, would we be in a catch-22 where Mississippi, IHL, and the powers that be would try to hinder that from them being successful? So for example, the three most important opportunities that await the next president. Of course, we all know that advancing Jackson State towards R1 research status, and just like you said, strengthen community, state, and global partnership. But I also would think that expanding and modernizing the online and hybrid programs is one of the most important parts of this next era.
I saw
State.
Jerry's comment. So yeah, Bynum was not, like, I guess technically from Mississippi, but he was the president of Mississippi Valley. So like he chose that he was another person that was handpicked from Mississippi. And it's not a knock. Myers, people say she was a crook. Number one, why is she not in jail? And number two, why does she work for SAC COC? We got to remember that everything that Myers did was signed off on by IHL. So she never stole any money. Her downfall was just that she brought in a horrible AD. And she kind of pissed off the IHL. That was her only downfall.
And basically they were letting her sign off on some stuff, and then they used it against her. So they were letting her use those reserves, and then all of a sudden, when she got on their bad side, all of a sudden it was, what'd you do with all the reserved money?
Yeah, and she kept her receipt too, because before she left, she posted that screenshot on our social media platforms of everything that was signed off on. Now, mind you, the things that were signed off on, they were like immediate needs, like infrastructure issues with the library, other, issues with the other facilities on campus, and they weren't giving us bonds. So if you're not going to give us bonds, we got to tap into our cash reserves, and they signed off on it.
What priorities should the new president focus on in the new year? So, like, what is the most pressing issues for Jackson State? Isn't it housing and financial aid are two of the most pressing?
Yeah, I would definitely say, enrollment growth. And with that enrollment growth, we have to have capacity. And to me, we can do it two ways. Number one, have a president with a bold plan in place to secure housing. It could be through state funds, or it could be through private parties like Prairie View. That's how they've been able to sustain that 10,000 enrollment over the last 10, 15 years. They were going through the same, issues with the Texas A&M system, similar to us with IHL. So they got a private party. I think it's American Campus, AmericanCampus.com. And essentially, I think we talked about it before, that organization, they build beautiful student apartments all across the nation for PWIs and HBCUs. Mississippi State is one of those schools. If you go to their website, you'll see the communities they built for Mississippi State. But over the first 2 years, they own and control the property, which allows you to increase your enrollment and take in additional revenue through tuition and fees. And then after the third year, they turn the property over to the university. So we can go that route, in addition to growing our online capacity. So when you're looking at quite a few larger HBCUs, they've greatly increased their online capacity. So what is our plan? What is the next president's plan to effectively address both of those avenues?
So do you have any who are your top 3 presidents that you would like to go after? If you could just,
Can't say
hypothetically
it.
speaking.
Yeah,
I
I
know
can't
somebody
say
in the comments. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I need to pull up the ones that I had from last year then.
that. I did see
I don't
someone mention Dr. James T. Minor. Um, honestly, guys, that ship has sailed. Once you've been uh, looked over twice, and now you're at pretty much a major university in Illinois, I don't think he's interested in coming back or even doing that whole process again. Because looking at his resume and his accomplishments, the fact that he was looked over twice was very disrespectful.
I mean, isn't it third time's the charm?
It's a charm to get cussed out. Yeah, I know I was. But no, there are some very viable individuals, but we got to ask ourselves, like, um, are we willing to work with this individual who may come to the table with some abstract, outside the box thinking and processes? We're an awesome university. There's just some things that need to be fixed from an operational standpoint and just how we move. Um, yeah, and in order to align ourselves with trying to get back, with the Mackenzie Scott group, there's some things that greatly need to be fixed. And are we willing to support those ideas?
Mm, 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 mm. Well, I know Dr. Glover used to be at Jackson State when she was over the College of Business when I was there, and she most recently was the Tennessee State president. TSU, yeah, Tennessee State president. I, in terms of I would probably, I think we have a couple of like Jackson State alums who are currently
So to
others.
finish your point, we literally have about 10 JSU alums right now who are sitting presidents. So it largely through the executive PhD program.
Oh wait,
But
they're getting ready to start the second one.
uh,
I want to first begin by introducing
This
ourselves
is
so you'll know who you're
sorry
talking
for
to.
interrupting you.
And then we have a series of 4 questions that we want to address as we move forward in this preparation for the search
This
for the
is
next president. So I am Carlton
faculty.
Brown. I'm an executive search consultant for AGB Search, which is the firm that the board has hired to manage this search. We've spent some time talking to the board and getting their input on this search, and they are very engaged in pursuing this search as we go forward. But I've been with AGB Search for about 9 years now, and I've done several searches around the country, many for presidents, including 9 HBCU presidencies. Prior to my time with AGB Search, I'm also a consultant with the Association of Governing Boards, dealing with governance, business model planning, and other aspects of higher education. And prior to all of that, I was president of Clark Atlanta University for 8 years. And prior to that, president of Savannah State University for 10 years, and spent 10 years at Hampton as a dean and a vice president prior to those presidencies. Return to my colleague, Kim Bobby.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Bobby. I'm a principal with AGB Search, and I've been with the firm since 2017. I've been in higher ed about 35 years. I am a prior faculty member at the University of Puget Sound and an administrator, American Council in Education. I led a program to develop college leaders around the nation, including several HBCUs. And I have been at AGB for on both sides of the table with governance and with AGB Search. We're so pleased to be here with you today, and we want to thank you for the time you're taking to be online.
We know that we are meeting with several stakeholders. We started out with, working with your board. Your board is very engaged in this process and very observant and very engaged with us. And so we want to thank them for their leadership and presence in this important work, and all the stakeholders that are coming at the different sessions. They're designed for your group to be able to speak into your truth about your experience and what you're looking for in the next president. As Dr. Brown said, we have a series of questions that are designed to inform the profile. This is a national search. You are announcing to the world that Jackson State University is looking for the next president, and here are the challenges, opportunities, or the challenges and priorities that next president should be able to address based on experience, based on their body of work and what they've accomplished. And that profile is going to give some bullet points about that as a part of the larger comprehensive profile that talks about the institution. It's also going to talk about not only challenges and priorities, but what personal and professional attributes are you looking for in the next president? You want the candidate pool to be able to see themselves in the role. And so you have to offer up the direction so that they can see if they can map their body of work onto this opportunity and map their personal professional attributes onto this opportunity. And also, what's going well? The opportunities are there. We do a mini appreciative inquiry. What's going well at Jackson State that we can talk to candidates about? So that what we learn will be synthesized, but our notes from the listening sessions really do give us a little more content when we have those one-on-one conversations with candidates. So as we open this up for a discussion, we would like for you to, before you speak, come on in, everyone. Before you speak, if you could just give your name and where you're located on campus, that will be helpful. Everything you say here is, we're going to synthesize. No one's contribution will be attributed to them personally. And we're looking to synthesize information. We're looking for dominant themes that keep coming up around this subject matter. And so that's really what we're looking for. And so we're going to go ahead and open it up, and we're going to start. I think sometimes it's best to start with those personal and professional attributes to kind of get that going and get your thoughts flowing. Because in the back of your mind, when you think of those attributes, you're probably thinking about some challenges that they need to be able to step into. And that's opportunities. And so we want you to be thinking about that as well. And then, really, when you think about, in the next few years, the next couple of years, what does success look like? So we're going to go ahead and jump in and start. So personal and professional attributes for your next president. When you encounter that person, what are you looking for in their attributes?
We've got a microphone on this side of the room to make sure we get maximum input so that we can actually review some of this later if we don't catch it all in our notes that we're taking here. So what are the talents, skills, attributes that you're looking for in your next president? Experiences, background, what are you looking for?
I see some smiles. Don't be shy. Yes,
Please.
yeah. We want your colleagues
Both looked eager to get there, so I'm giving you a little prompt here.
and we want your colleagues that are online to be able to hear what's being said in the room. And so that's why we have the mics, and that's why I'm using my outdoor voice as well.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tony Ladker, Dean of College of Education and Human Development.
All right.
I think, first of all, for an attribute, I'm looking for someone who understands really both sides of the university. Someone who has a, background on the academic side and really understands how all of that works, but also someone who, has an understanding of the other side of the university, the business side, and how, all of that works. So we really need someone that's well-rounded, that has experience within the university setting. I think that's something that's really valuable for us.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you for getting us
Your
going.
colleague wanted to go next, I know. Yes. Yes, you. Looked like you were hurting up there that you couldn't get it out, so. He said what you wanted to say? Okay.
But that's exactly the kind of information we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Other input, attributes, talents, skills, capabilities, background, experience. Now, surely you're not gonna let the Dean of Education be the only one that says something in here. I can't imagine that.
I know this.
There
setup
we go,
people
there
don't
we go.
understand, But
I knew I'd get him somewhere along the way.
Okay, Ramon Jackson, Assistant Professor of Music Education,
very
Department of Music. Someone who is also able to go out and fundraise, meet with the stakeholders to assist us with fundraising efforts, scholarship, etc. I think about the longevity of the institution. We should not also depend on the federal government, but we should also have some of the rainy day funds available to sustain us in today's climate.
Mhm.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Other input on this question. Skills, capabilities, talents, attributes, background, experiences. Well, let's move on to the next question. We can always come back to that one. What to you are the 2 or 3 most important opportunities that await the next president? What are the things that this next president should really lock in on and get done? Now, I happen to know that every academic unit on this campus has a list, if spoken or unspoken. I know you've got a list. We need that list.
Here she comes. What do you want to see get done? This is the time. You have a moment right now.
Here she comes.
Okay.
Here she comes. Been waiting on you, been sitting over there holding on to it.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shonda Lewis. I'm Associate Professor in the Department of Educational Foundations and Research in the College of Education. Dr. Latiker is my dean.
Speak up a little.
Dr. Latiker is my dean. I think because we've had so much turnover and instability in leadership,
Mhm.
we really need someone that's able to come in and not just steer the ship, but bring everyone together in those regards. There are areas across campus where morale is low.
Mhm.
There are areas where there are faculty that really don't, I'm just being honest, really don't have a lot of stock or faith in the process. So we need someone that's going to be able to come in and bring, I know this may sound really odd for a university, but to bring unity
Yeah.
within the university.
Mhm.
One of the first attributes that I would think that that person would need to do, I know you've all heard that relationships is the new currency. So building relationships across campus to strengthen university as a whole.
Social capital.
Thank you. Others. You can go, and like you did, you folded in some attributes as well as talked about some of the challenges and priorities that this next president should be ready to address.
Now, is this an all School of Education show here this morning, or are there others? Looks like education has it. As a former education dean, I'm proud of that.
Both of us come from the School of Ed. Did you want to say something? Or? I saw you stand. Did you want to say something? I saw you standing. I didn't want to. Okay.
All right.
Oh, I knew there was a faculty connection. Anybody else on the faculty here that really, when you think about your next president, as I said, this is a national search. So you have a chance to contribute to how they can examine their readiness by helping us, by telling us what you're looking for in the next president. As I said, we're meeting with all kinds of stakeholders. We're meeting with your trustees. As I said, they've been involved. We're meeting with students, staff, alumni. And so we want to talk to stakeholders. It's a very inclusive process. And so your voice as faculty are very important to this process.
And we know that some trustees are online as we speak, listening in, trying to get more input, more understanding as well. Other input. Here comes the dean again.
And I really just have two things to add. One, I think we need someone with a proven track record. And by proven, I don't necessarily mean it has to be a long career as a, university administrator, but someone that is, has some accomplishments that we can go back in reference to, someone who's dealt with some of the challenges that we face as a university. And then one major issue I think that the incoming president really has to deal with is the whole housing issue for us here at Jackson State. I think that's probably, one of our largest challenges that we face right now, because that impacts everything that we try to do in terms of being able to increase enrollment, in terms of being able to attract students to come to our university. I think our housing situation is holding us back in many avenues. So someone, with experience, a proven track record, maybe even someone who's, addressed that particular issue.
I don't know what happened. It's not me. It's their screen. He started really telling us what Jackson State need in terms of housing and stability and growth, and all of a sudden the stuff don't work no more. That's not me, y'all. That's their screen. When he started sharing, all of a sudden, well, he made out. So what did you think about those points that he did, Brother Jerome? What do you think?
I thought they were very solid points. I'm just a little disheartened that there aren't more in attendance. But I get it. It could be some folks are coming back from Vegas. It could be folks are afraid of retaliation, or to his point, just burnout from the process, the previous processes.
Y'all, they definitely stopped it.
Wow.
What is going on? Goodness. I just wanted you guys to know it was not me. And to Jerome and Dre, why were y'all trying to play me so close earlier? Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
I heard somebody call a hall. That says Timon asleep.
Like, okay, I might have been Mr. Ford Jr., but yeah, so right now, that professor started talking and he was bringing up some stuff, and all of a sudden, that's very unusual because everything else was kind of just like a lot of dead space. And he was letting y'all know we need growth. So
I do appreciate I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that the 4 o'clock one, I hope they don't experience technical difficulties for that one, because it's gonna be, that's the alum one, Jerome, at 4.
Oh yeah.
You talking about folks going in that 4 o'clock. So what might have to happen is, because it seems like it's like an all-day experience, what might have to happen is there's going to probably be a break, and then I would have to come back live later, because I already know the alums aren't going to mince their words. Like, you're seeing how when you work for the university, your voice can be definitely silenced, or asking for changes or highlighting issues at the school is not welcomed.
And that's so sad, and that goes to that speaks to the culture. Like, the university has to have an inclusive, welcoming culture. But I'll say this: that is something that we're seeing across the board, among all colleges and universities. There's like this censorship that's been going on. I feel like that was started by this administration prior. When I say, I'm talking about, the U.S. president, and we're seeing a lot of censorship. And the at least we can control what we can control by having a leadership in place that fosters and encourages open feedback and dialogue.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do appreciate the brothers that came up who stated they prefer to have a candidate with a background in, maybe higher ed, in addition to the business aspect of the university. There was another brother who mentioned fundraising background on a large scale.
Right.
In this type of climate, we need to have a different avenue when it comes to generating revenue. we can't solely depend on the federal government or the state for all of our funding. Like, we've got to do our part. And the only way we can do our part is if we have a leader in place who knows what that looks like, who speaks corporate language, who speaks the language of, the private sector, et cetera. So those are some very important attributes to have.
I I think that, like, Mr. Moore points out, that folks are losing their federal jobs for the pettiest things. Funding is being removed from institutions, grants that are not being fulfilled that have already actually been awarded. There's so much uncertainty that I definitely can understand tiptoeing on eggshells, but I feel like the process that they're doing is not, you have to come stand in front of a whole bunch of people. Like, they could have definitely had an anonymous box where you write down what the problem is and then someone reads it out loud. Like, that's one of the ways that they've always done it, made it anonymous.
Yeah.
That way you're able to get your voice heard, but you don't have to worry about retaliation. I think that the alums maybe not mincing their words because they are not in fear of retaliation, right? Because they don't work at the university. So I think that that voice that they have is, they might feel like, well, the alum's voice shouldn't have as much impact. But I feel like alums are able to say what we feel are the issues without retaliation being an issue. Um, you know, it kind of reminds me of the Hunger Games, this whole president listening session and how it goes about, like, just where we're at right now in this political environment. Folks are trying to keep their jobs, so I can definitely understand. And also, you have to understand that some folks are benefiting from this type of misfunction.
Correct. That's the
And
elephant in the room that a lot of people don't want to talk about publicly. Um, and I love this platform. I know we've got some visitors in the chat, but I do feel like there should be like some sort of a space where just alums could have some real dialogue about what you just said.
and I also think that that's something that alums from all universities, especially in HBCUs, also face, right? These are issues that, especially when it comes to housing, when it comes to state funding, when it comes to favoritism, nepotism,
Mhm.
and we actually have seen some there. They may not be like the same level of scandal, but we've also seen how complacency, favoritism, nepotism, um, has had a negative impact on other HBCUs in their
Yep.
administration.
And that also
Dr.
kind of
Carey
trickles
is
down.
talking about the 1877 project.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. Yeah. But to your point, it also trickles down to morale among the students. So here's two examples, right? So I was told that, after when we fired Kamaji, we were set to hire, what's the brother's name? Who's that? Jerry Mack.
Mm-hmm.
But the old guard, they wanted their guy, who was, what's Mudbone's name?
Harold Jackson?
Harold
Which
Jackson.
one?
So we could
Oh,
have had
Lord.
Jerry Mack, but they got in Meyer's ear and she changed her mind and went with him. Another
Same reason how they
situation,
got in.
right? And another situation is like food services. I was told that that was like nepotism for a very long time and people were benefiting from it. And a lot of students, hated the food. And then when Myers came in, she, got with another company because she wanted to appease, the students. So we've got to have serious conversations in the JSU community and identify people who are not, they don't truly have the university's best interest at heart. They're looking at like from a personal gain standpoint.
Right. And that's one of the things, like, if you are benefiting from the dysfunction of not having to, you have your job is comfortable, or you have your place and making changes would cede power, then I can definitely understand why certain folks wouldn't want things to change. Or when in the chat, a lot of folks were talking about what is wrong with our current interim president. There's nothing wrong with the current interim president making sure that she's keeping the boat steady, and what she brings to the table. We're not saying something is wrong with her, but when you have the opportunity to do a national search and you have a president that can bring certain things to the table, you don't want to be complacent and just say, okay, here, let's just hire the interim president.
Right. And Timona, I think that a lot of us have forgotten who we are as a Jackson State brand um, when it comes to STEM and research and business and medical field, legal field, like the amount of productivity that we have produced and how we got to where we are. I think that it has been silenced and forgotten by athletic uh, notoriety. I think it's been forgotten intentionally. It's been swept under the rug or tried to kept quiet. So for us to, I feel like there's been an intentional dumbing down, if you will, over the last 10 years. And I think it's been very intentional and strategic by IHL um, to where we are now to make us feel like, oh, let's just throw so and so in there. Like, no, this is the president of Jackson State, a school that's in the same conversations historically over the last 20 some odd years with Howard and Morehouse and North Carolina A&T and Morgan. Like, you'll never hear their alums or community say, oh, let's just throw some, like, come on now. Like, our standard, to be quite honest, is not where it should be. It's pretty low. But that's not the standard among all alums. There are quite a few alums nationwide who feel I would venture to say majority of alums nationwide want us to have a true competent national search and to have a top-notch leader in place that brings credibility, national resources and relationships, and who can come in and clean house. That's what most alums nationwide want.
So our previous president that just exited, he was doing that, but I think you definitely affect your credibility for doing it when you have issues behind closed doors. You can't come over here preaching about accountability and cleaning house and then your house ain't clean. Folks aren't going to take you seriously.
Right.
Because there was definitely a lot of cleaning up going on. And folks were there was a lot of pink slips being handed out. But like you said, our administrator needs to be credible. Can't just be anyone. But Brother C. Lee seems to think that if you're a tenured professor, that there's no reason why you shouldn't be here speaking out, because being tenured is all that you really need, in order to be protected. And so why are they not there speaking out and they have the protections that they need? That is a good question.
I think that may speak to how toxic things are uh, from an administration standpoint. Like if you got protections and you still don't want to speak out, yeah.
They said, get somebody else to do it. I think that I'm not sure about the technical difficulties, but the only thing that I can think of is coming back on when the students come back on. So we've been on here about 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I think we might have got, like, out of the 2 hours, we maybe got 20 minutes of folks actually speaking on the problems that, well, not the problem, but what they're looking for in a president. What are things that need to be fixed? We might have got 20 minutes worth of talk. So me, I feel like maybe I should come back when it's the alums lives, or the alums go live, just because I feel like when the alums go live, they'll uh, be more blunt, right? They're not going to be mincing their words with what are the problems that Jackson State's facing, what are they looking for in the next president, what are some of the characteristics that the president should have. What do you think, Jerome?
Yeah, I will say in the past, the students have been pretty vocal and pretty honest. The last couple of listen sessions, uh, but yeah, I think the alumni one at 4 o'clock, and hopefully by then the technical issues will have been resolved. It's kind of odd that they still haven't brought the live link back up.
Yeah, so the live's up, but there's nothing there. So what I'm gonna do is just turn your notifications on. Oh Lord, they said the last president was heavy on nepotism. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get off, and then if they get the technical difficulties completed before the students come on, then I'll come back on. But for sure, hopefully the technical difficulties will be fixed by the time the alums come on. So just turn your notifications on and I will come back on. I'll do that.
Hey, we
So
greatly appreciate you, Timona, for even doing this. Thank you so much.
yes. Oh, as I definitely want to be able to allow people the chance and opportunity, even if it's just a chat where we're speaking about these issues, we're still being able to discuss and have our voices heard. And hopefully the alumni call is available for us to listen into, because I think that one's really going to represent how we feel really well. I know that 1877 Project will be in attendance. Before I leave out, I do want to once again drop the form. If you have not completed it, complete it. If you don't necessarily want to write a whole bunch of paragraphs, but you know for sure that you have characteristics of morality, upstanding character behind the scenes, the ability to work with all different people from all different backgrounds. And you can go to ChatGPT type in the question and type in your answer and just say the three things that I really are want to hone in on for the Jackson State president, and it will formulate. Oh, wait, we're back.
Jackson State, we got the boom, we have
Yeah.
the football team. You know, it's a great university, great place to be. But I think we have area for growth in terms of marketing, you know, our academic program and individually. I don't think that we as a university have put enough backing behind, you know, those particular programs, saying, oh, we're doing great. You know, we have this great engineering program and we have tons of social media and commercials out here about what we're doing in engineering over here in education in these different areas. So I definitely think that's where we need to go and have someone that values that. And someone that has a track record showing that, hey, I put, where I've been, I've, put resources behind this academic piece. And, we've been able to see some growth to consequences.
All right. Well, out of fear that you've probably got one or two more things to say. You've given us some great input. And this is very, very important to us. You have no idea. But we really do put this stuff into the profile and try to structure it in a way that we attract the right candidates and repel some of the wrong candidates. Okay, that's the other function of the profile is to inform the intelligent that this may not be for them, and to inform some others saying this is the one I've been looking for. And so getting that kind of precise on the skill sets, the attributes, the needs, et cetera, is very important in that regard. And letting them know subtly that if you think you're going to be here 2 years and try to leave, they might not find the body.
We really want to be able to give the best information to the candidate pool and really help them see themselves in the role. So that's why we really want some details.
So thank you all very much.
And the link is out there. The survey link is still out there. So if you feel like something else comes to mind that you didn't say today, we're going to be doing the same kind of synthesis with that, looking for things in the survey link that is out there. So please contribute to that and tell others to do the same.
And so, Dean, that's for your next 3 thoughts that you didn't have. Absolutely.
And I think there's another faculty session.
That's 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's probably one for most people.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, though.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming. Oh my God, it's freezing in here again.
So I think they purposely cut off the professor that was speaking, that he was intentionally, that feed was cut intentionally because they didn't return until he stopped talking. So the next session begins at 12. And that is the student session. So that's in 15 minutes. So you guys can let me know in the chat if we're going to stay on here for the student session and then take a break until the alum session, or what do you guys want to do in the chat? But the speech by that professor, C. Lee's going to be there at 4 p.m. So we will be tuning into that one. So that will be 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, which will be 5 p.m. So I think, so 4 o'clock p.m. Central is 5 Eastern Standard Time. So I will be back for the 5 o'clock session. I think we're going to stay on here, though, for next. No, I'm going to end because the live is so long. I'm going to end this live and I'm going to restart in like 10 minutes. I'll restart so that it's a new, fresh number on here so it's not so long. And so we'll start with the student session in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to do that. So you guys can just turn your notifications on. I'll be back in like 10 minutes and restart with the student session. Okay. All right. All hearts and minds are clear. Good. I'll see you guys in like 10 minutes.
High five.